to the Cosmopolitan Allure channel. My name is Kia, and today we are going to be doing a get ready with me. It's going to be all of my favorites. I was looking through my video inventory. Cat Thug Life is awake. So anywho, I realized that I did not have a video that talked about my favorites. I have kind of sprinkled in throughout my videos certain products that I've used for years, but I've never had a dedicated video to those items in particular. So today I am going to do my regular get ready with me if I was going to go run errands, because I do have to go run errands in a little bit. And this is my polished look when I need to do a makeup look very quickly, when I want to look put together. These are my tried and true products that I've used for many years. I do have some newcomers where as soon as I put them on my face, they were an instant love. So if you like to see these items and see how I get a polished look, then keep on watching. First item we're going to talk about today is one that if you have watched my channel for an extensive period of time, I have talked about this product since at least 2021. And that is the LYS Think Bright Serum. This is a vitamin C serum. This is what I use for my primer for years at this point. So this is tried and true. I have used it under numerous foundations and I've never had any issues. And I keep going back to it. So I am just going to take the pipette and I'm just going to drizzle, and I am going to rub this into my skin. Apparently, Midori, Cat Thug Life, is having a zoomies moment right now. So while that primer is setting in, I'm going to talk about my skincare routine. So I have two different skincare routines. I have one that I use before I put on makeup, and then I have one that I use at night before I go to sleep. So for cleanser, the Anua Heartleaf Quercetinol Pore Deep Cleansing Foam. So this actually has little cleansing particles inside of the cleanser. Don't know if you can see that, but you can see this is well loved. So apologies for the terrible packaging, but it is almost gone. You see me squeezing it. So yes, I have had this for a while. And this is the cleanser that I use to cleanse my face prior to putting on makeup. I have a different Anua cleanser for before I go to sleep at night, but this is the one that I like to use during the day or before I put on makeup. It's great for sensitive skin. So for the Anua brand, the Heartleaf line is for sensitive skin, and that's primarily what I use. Because I do have sensitive skin, so that's what I like to use to calm my skin. And then for toner, I use the BYOMA Hydrating Milky Toner. So this is a recent addition. I've probably been using this for the last 2 months, and I really like this because it's very hydrating. So for me, my skin leans dry to normal, and so I do my best to substitute or to compensate for the fact that my skin runs a little dry with my skin prep prior to putting on makeup. So this was a very hot product in the makeup community for, I would say, the last 6 months or so, and everybody seemed to love it. And I just happened to see it on Amazon. It was relatively inexpensive. I think it was I'm gonna say it was $20 or less. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I know it was $20 or less. And so I was like, well, let me give it a shot. And now they also have a travel size, which I'm upset about, is because I actually looked for a travel size and they didn't have it. But I was in Ulta yesterday and I saw that they have it. So anywho, but I do like it. It is well over halfway gone. So I really, really like it. It is very hydrating for me. And when I put it on, it leaves somewhat of like a little foam on top of the skin. So once that foam dries down and penetrates into the skin, that's my sign that it's fully absorbed. So I like the hydration that it gives and all of those things. So before I put on the serum, the LYS serum, these are all the products that I had used prior to filming, and they had sat on my skin for roughly about an hour or so before I started filming. The next item that I have been using pretty consistently is the Yummy Skin 10 by 10 or 10 over 10 barrier boost with Ectoin. What is this? With hyaluronic acid and Ectoin. It's a plumping serum. So this is something that I can't say that I see the results from it immediately, but I have not used it consistently. This is one of those things where when I think about it, I put it on. Like I said, before I do makeup, I do put this on consistently before I do makeup, but I don't wear it every day. So, you know, things like this are the results you see is when you use it consistently. But what I will say is I do like the way my skin feels after I put it on. I do feel like it gives me another layer of hydration, and my skin does feel a little bit more plush than it did prior to putting it on. So that much I can give it. So it's something that I like. The ingredients in it are very good and something that I would like to continue to invest in my skin with. So the next one is sunscreen. Yes, I wear sunscreen. Do I wear it consistently? No. So that is not good, but I am making an effort to do better. And part of the reason I'm doing better is because it's summertime and it's so hot, my skin is burning. Yes, you heard me correctly, burning. So when I go outside and it is very hot outside, my face will literally start feeling like it's on fire from the direct sunlight. It doesn't happen all the time, but on the extremely hot days, my face is burning. So I took that as a sign that I do need to wear sunscreen. I should have always been wearing sunscreen. And the common misconception that Black people do not need to wear sunscreen is a lie. In fact, we probably need to wear it more than people who do not have highly melanated skin. And that is because hyperpigmentation for us is much more difficult to get rid of because we have more melanin or melanocytes in our skin. So when we do not wear sunscreen, hyperpigmentation becomes more permanent and more difficult to get rid of because it is actually a genetic response that whenever you have trauma to the skin, whether that's if you pop a pimple, you burn yourself, you fall and get a scar, whatever the case may be, any type of trauma to the skin, we naturally produce more melanocytes to go in and patch whatever's going on with that scar, which is why we have dark marks that are left behind after a traumatic skin event. So when you do not wear sunscreen, the sunlight rays actually make this scar more permanent because your body is pushing more melanocytes toward the traumatic event. So I'm not a dermatologist. This is just years of research and listening to dermatologists who have talked about this repetitively. And I can post some links to some doctors that I follow, actual estheticians and so forth, and dermatologists who talk about this extensively. But yes, so, and if you notice, like in my older videos, some of these hyperpigmentation scars were not as prominent. And back then I was a lot more religiously using a skincare routine. and over the years I have just fallen off and my skin is paying for it now. So I'm trying to correct where I can to reverse some of the damage that I have caused myself by not being consistent with a skincare routine. So I use the Anua Zero Cast Sunscreen SPF 50. Like I said, the majority of the products that I use are Anua. For me, I am not new to the Korean skincare trend. I have been using Korean skincare pretty much since 2016 or 2017, almost a decade at this point. So yeah. But yes, this is what I choose to wear. As you can see, I do not have a white cast, which is something that people of color worry about. When you put on sunscreen, you can see it on the skin because it does not fully absorb into the skin. That's another reason why my preference for sunscreen is usually Asian market driven. So prior to using this, I did use Tatcha sunscreen. So the majority of the sunscreens that I have used on my face, I will say, have been Asia market sunscreens, because sunscreen is something that's very, very, very important to Asian culture, because they don't play about sunscreen. So, and they've had ingredients that we in the US have not approved, but that are actually better and healthier for your skin, because Asian culture relies a lot on traditional medicine to create the basis of a lot of their skincare products. So we in the US are just catching up to the trend. I was just watching a video last week. One of the ingredients that Asia has used in their skincare for almost 20 years just got approved by the FDA last week to use in US products. So that gives you an idea of where we sit when it comes to skincare technology and the health of our skin. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about purchasing things for your skin and what we have in the US versus other countries. Anywho, so yes, so this is what I use. Love it, no issues. And it's a very thin formula. It's not a thick formula, it's thin, it melts into the skin, and you don't get a white cast. Then last but not least, to lock in all of these steps, do you need all of these steps? No. Do they play a role? Yes. And I probably should have talked about that for each one. But the last one I have is this Anua Moisturizing Cream. So this is also Heartleaf, the Heartleaf line in Anua. It's the Intense Calming Cream. So like I said, I have sensitive skin. My skin burns. So anytime I can get some type of relief in my skin, that is what I'm going to put on my skin. So that's why I have this one. I love this. I have no issues with it. My little green top is missing, but this is what it looks like. Oh, did it get on my shirt? Okay, no, it didn't get on my shirt. Okay. But it's refillable, yay. But yeah, and you can see I use it a lot. It's already halfway gone, and this is a definite repurchase. So my skin loves it. Very soothing to the skin. And so one of the reasons I have so many steps in my skincare, obviously you want to cleanse your face, so that's why I use a cleanser. But toner, so a lot of people don't know what the function of toner is. Toner is to go in and prep your skin to receive whatever step comes after it. So if you use this, which is a serum, this is not a necessity step. Serums are what you want to boost in your skin. So if your skin is lacking vitamin C, if your skin is lacking if your skin is dull and you want brightness, if your skin is dry and you want extra hydration, so like a hyaluronic acid serum, toner preps your skin to be able to receive what you put on top of it. So if you put these serums on without a toner, your skin will absorb it, but it does not absorb it to the best of its potential because it doesn't have the toner, which acts as a booster to receive whatever serums you have on top of it. So that is the order in which, if you want to use serums, it's another word, and essences, then you should put it on after a toner. So cleanse your skin first, because you always want to put anything on your skin on top of clean skin. A toner to prep your skin to receive your serums and essences, and then sunscreen just for the health of your skin from the sun rays, and a moisturizer so your skin can be moisturized and also help boost your skin barrier. So that is my skincare routine prior to me putting on makeup. So I'm sure this is well over 5 minutes, and our primer or serum that I used as a primer today has had time to set in. So I am going to, oh, I should have had my lips on. No. Okay. So we're going to go back to our tried and true. You already know what this is, the Fenty Skin Plush Pudding. You have seen this in multiples of my videos. It is what it is. I have a new one now. This is my favorite one, but they came out with a chocolate one. So I have chocolate now. But obviously it's a repurchase. Obviously I love this product. It's a twist up, and I just take my finger, get what I need, put it on my lips and go. So those who have been with me, you guys already know what the deal is. So I am going to underpaint. So my preferred method of using blush and contour is underpainting. Underpainting gives you a more natural look when it comes to how dimension looks on your face. And when I say dimension, that means instead of having the harsh visible lines of contour and the harsh line of a blush that if you don't blend properly, you can underpaint with liquid or cream products to get that same effect, and you don't have to put the powders and the powder versions on top. It's just that your colors need to be saturated enough and your foundation needs to be thin enough that these can shine through your foundation. Now, some people don't even put foundation on top of it. They just work around it and blend it out. That's not my personal style. I'm gonna start with my contour sticks. So these are my 2 contour sticks that I alternate between all the time. So I have the Victoria Beckham Contour Stylist in Sandstone, and I have the LYS No Limits Cream Bronzer in the color Courage. I alternate between these 2. It just depends on what's on my desk. One of the reasons I like these is because of the travel friendliness of the component. You guys know, for me, how easy I can pick up a product and go throw it in my bag and be on about my business is a priority to me. For today's video, they're at 2 different price points though. So I believe this is, I'm gonna say $25 or less. This one, I think this is like $40. So you have options, but the main thing is the component. So this is very targeted where I can sculpt where I want to. It's not messy. This is the Victoria Beckham one, so I can literally go in and draw where I want the product to lay. So that's one of the reasons I like using these. I'm gonna go with Courage today. As you can see, this is well loved. It's beat up. So you guys definitely know what I gravitate towards. And as usual, I always use my trachea, bring it down, and I stop right here at my eye. And that is just to make sure that I don't drag my face down lower. When you go past your eye, you tend to drag all the way across here. I don't need that, and I made my line a little bit long today. And I'm just gonna go in. Now for me, I can control how much, and you can roll it back down. So that's the one thing I do like about this component. It's not one of those things, once you put it up, you have to use it. So I use the tip of the triangle to make lighter strokes around here. And then right at my trachea here, I use the full triangle itself. So, and then I do the same thing with my nose here. I'm just gonna go in and just use the tip to contour my nose, and I'm just gonna look in my mirror down here so I can see. A little heavy-handed on that side. And for those of you who don't know why we use contour, it is the appearance of shadows on your face. And what that means is you can put where you want shadow on your face, or also known as make your face look smaller. When we put it here, it's to give us the appearance of having cheekbones that lift. And so this part right here goes in like this. When you put your contour or bronzer down here, this is to make this jawline look smaller. So if you see like this part disappears. I don't know if you were paying attention before. I probably should have mentioned it before, but so that is why we use it. If you have thinner lips, you can go in and put some contour right here, and it will give you the illusion that your lips are a little bit more pouty than they actually are. So just some informational tips on that. And then for blush, me and Juvia's Place in this product, which is their blush lighter or their blush light in Marigold Glow. I was so sick of myself with this product. All of these products, for me, I use them so much that I was like, I need to use something else. Like, I'm sick of using these. There's got to be something out there that I like more than this. And I keep coming back to them because they just do what I need them to do. Like, and I like this color. So this is blush and highlighter together. So that's why it's called a blush light. I like to look like I'm glowing from within. So most of the time I don't wear that was about to be a whole lie. I like blush that makes me look flushed, if that makes sense. So I tend to wear blushes in the same color. I don't vary too much from my established color range, and the majority of my blushes are always going to be a peach leaning color of some sort. I feel like peach looks good on me. It's a color that I feel confident in. It is a color I receive a lot of compliments in, but also for me, peach gives me the ability to make it look like a flush from within, or if I want it to be intensely seen, it doesn't look bad if I wear it stronger. So I encourage you all to find colors that when you wear, you get the most compliments on, and try wearing your makeup in those colors because it'll give you a boost in your makeup that you wear, in colors that you feel comfortable in, and colors that you know you look good in, because you get multiple compliments in reference to that color. So I am going to pick up my BK Beauty 109 brush. So let me go ahead and give you guys a disclaimer. 98% of my brushes are BK Beauty brushes. I am not a person who experiments with brushes because brushes are an investment to me. So for decades, I used BH Cosmetics brushes. If I gifted you a brush within, I would say, prior to the last 4 years, if you got a brush from me, it was 90% going to be a BH Cosmetics brush because they were inexpensive. They lasted forever. When I still have some of my brushes, and I have had them for well over a decade. And I would still be using them to this day, except the company went out of business. So, or they're no longer available in the US. I think they're strictly UK based, but before that, they were completely non-existent. So, let me start blending because once this sets in, so anywho. So I'm just going to blend up, and when I blend out my contour or bronzer, I blend up. I don't blend down because I don't want to drag my face down. And then around my hairline, I pull it back into my hairline. Okay. But once I find a brush brand, I stick to that. If I am out and about and I don't have a brush, I will run into the store and pick something up. And I would say right now, my go-to brand for secondary brushes is either Real Techniques or Morphe. Excuse me. So, yes. So BK Beauty was the next brush brand that I saw. I literally had to find another one. At the time when BH Cosmetics went out of business, Morphe was going through their rebrand. And I had some of Morphe's brushes prior to their rebrand, and they were not my favorite. So I didn't purchase that many. But what I can say is after their recent rebranding within the last 2 to 3 years, the quality of their products I feel like are much better than they were previously. And then I'm just going to blend this upward. And if you find that you've put too much product on it, just have a towel ready and you can wipe off excess. I'm just blending this upward. And I feel like my face looks smaller because the light is hitting on this and this part down here is disappearing into the shadows. That could just be me being very wishful, but that is my wish right now. So I saw that a lot of folks were using the BK Beauty brushes, so I ordered some while they were having a sale, and I have not looked back since. So yes, that's the good thing I will say about BK Beauty is they have frequent sales throughout the year, so you can always get a brush on sale at some point during the year. And yes, I know this looks excessive, I know this looks like a lot, but this is how you have to put on these items for it to shine through up under your foundation. And as you can see, this is giving me peach copper vibes. So for me, I'm getting blush and highlight together, so I don't need to put anything on top of this unless I just absolutely want to. Now, depending on how much you blend away, sometimes it can get lost in the sauce up under everything, and then you do have to put a powder on top. But hopefully I put on quite a bit, enough today for it to shine through. All right, so now I'm going to move on to my favorite foundation of all time. It is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Foundation. I could cry. Yes, I know it's makeup, but this is very dear to me because this was the very first foundation that I had an exact match to. And that is how I found out that I had an olive skin tone. I had always thought that I had a yellow undertone, and I could not understand for the life of me why my foundations were always off. Sometimes it was more noticeable than others, but to me, there was always a disconnect between the color on my face and on my neck. The reality of it is that unless your color is so distinct from your neck or any other skin that you're showing, nobody is really going to be paying attention enough to identify that your foundation is not the same color as your skin. Or by the time you put on powders and bronzers and things of that nature, you can make a lighter foundation look darker than it actually is, but it's a lot of additional work. So I have the color medium 18, and I can wear additional colors in this, and this foundation is pretty much like water. It's very, very, very thin. So this foundation, I get the most compliments. This is my most complimented foundation, and it's just a boost. And so it looks light on camera because of the light, but it's an exact match. So it's very, 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 very thin. Very thin. It's almost undetectable on the skin. And so, oh, it's a little heavy-handed today. No. Usually I can see, okay, so that's usually how it looks. I was a little heavy-handed. But you can build up this foundation to be a fuller coverage, like I have it on this side. I haven't used it in a while, but this is typically where I stay with it, because you can still see my blush peeking through the bottom. I just got so excited, so I made it full coverage on this side, so that's fine. But underpainting essentially is people who wear the thinnest amount of foundation, and then you just go over it with, excuse me, and you can see everything that's up under it peeking through, which gives you a more natural appearance, and you look like you're glowing from within. You look like you have natural contours and things of that nature, and it's just because you placed your foundation in your underpainting well to give you a lit from within type of look. It's like the no makeup look. I don't like using the word no makeup look, because I get the concept of it. You want to look like you naturally woke up like this, but I'm not down with marketing that's pretty much lying to people. If you have on makeup, you have on makeup. I get you want to look like you don't have on makeup, no makeup. I get it, but I just don't like that branding. That's a personal preference. I feel like it would be better suited to say something along the lines of polished makeup, or minimal effort makeup, or natural makeup. To me, that's the definition of natural makeup. You want to look like you don't have anything on. Anywho, but don't get me started. Y'all who know me know I'm a color lover, and natural makeup makes me upset. But you know, it's a preference. Okay. I feel like I can still see some of that peach going on up under it. Okay. So that is our base. And then the next one. So my favorite concealer of all time is going to be Kosas. I have the little travel. That's how you know we get down. And then I have the full size. And what I will give Kosas, I've always had a match in concealer in Kosas, and then they're continuing to expand their line. So now they have, so I regularly wear the color 7. They now have a 6.8 warm, which I think has peach undertone. So I haven't tried that. They had a sale last week, and so I ordered it while it was 20% off. But my regular color that I use continuously is 7. This is the only concealer, well, one of the concealers that I have that don't go into my fine lines. And the color match is amazing. I just love this. So I keep going back, and the reason, so this is gonna sound crazy, but my most loved products are the ones that I lose the most, and I have to keep repurchasing them, because I will take them, put them in my travel bags, and then not take them out my travel bags, and then be lost in the sauce about where my stuff is, because I want to take it with me all the time. So that should tell you something. So I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna try this new color, the 6.8. And let me swatch it beside 7. Is there a difference? Oh yeah, you can definitely see the difference. Well, hold on, let me go in my little mirror. This just looks a hair lighter, but in the light, this looks a little bit more peach than this one does. I should have just stuck with 7. But we're gonna go ahead on. Go with 6.8. I'm gonna try 6.8, and I'm gonna take my A506 concealer brush, and I'm just gonna go in and press this right up here. And I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos, but I talk about why I put things on the back of my hand versus putting them directly up here on my face, and that's so I can thin out the product. So as you age, you get more wrinkles, more fine lines in your skin. And so it becomes imperative to do thin layers on your skin so your makeup doesn't have as much product to settle into those fine lines. So when you thin it out on your hand, you are applying the thinnest layers possible, so the amount of creasing, the amount of items, or the amount of product that goes into your fine lines is definitely reduced. So I just patted that in a little bit. I'm gonna give it some time to settle down, to dry down a little bit, so I can get the most coverage out of it. That's another thing. If you are a person that has severe dark circles and things of that nature, when you apply your concealer, let it dry some before you blend it and buff it into the rest of your makeup, because when it sits down, you get the most coverage you can get out of it. When you still manipulate it or blend it in while it's wet, you remove a lot of the coverage you could have because you're wiping it away while it's wet. So once it dries down a little bit and you go in and blend it out, that allows you to get the fullest coverage you can out of your concealer. So all right, so I'm gonna let that sit a little bit. So I'll go in and put the concealer in other places. So I do put concealer here in the middle of my forehead, and I put concealer in places where I want to bring light. So this is a form, people do this because it's a form of giving yourself dimension back in your face. When you put on foundation, essentially you remove any of the dimension, natural contours, natural light that you have hitting your face. So we use concealer to highlight and bring color back to those places that we've removed the color from. And so I'm just going to put some here on my nose. Do a little here around the corners of my mouth. And like I said before, I just take whatever excess is left over and I will go up under my eye. Excuse me. I will go over my eyelid area. So this is like a natural cleanup up under your under eyes, or excuse me, under your eyebrows. Now, a lot of people, when they do their eyebrows, putting concealer under your brow bone is a natural way to do it because it instantly cleans up under your eyebrows. I don't do that much to my eyebrows, but I'll go ahead and do that now while this is setting in. And so I don't let these, when I put them down here on my face, I don't let this concealer sit because I don't need full coverage on these. I just need them to go in and give me spotlight. And so I just go in and I can see that line of demarcation there. So I'm just gonna buff that away. All right. And so 24-hour brow setter by Benefit, you guys know. I use this all the time for my eyebrows. And so I'm literally just going to brush my eyebrows up and out and I am going to shape them while they are still wet. So whatever shape that I want, I go in and immediately do the shape. So when they dry down, they are in the shape that I want them to be. The order for which you do your eyebrows varies from person to person. I always have my eyebrows done prior to doing eyeshadow because my eyebrows pretty much kind of guide me in what the look is going to look like, if that makes any sense. And what I like about this formula is that it doesn't dry down so immediately. So if I need to go back in and kind of manipulate or maneuver my eyebrows, then I have time to do that. And that's it. That's all I do for my brows. So now, since this has had time to sit, I'm gonna go in with that same concealer brush and just go in and pat this in. It's had time to dry down a little bit. I'm just going to bring it a little bit down my nose here. And as you can see, I don't use that much concealer at all. I can definitely tell this is a little bit lighter than 7 because 7 is almost a skin match to me. So I have a little bit more on this side than I do on this side. So let me just get a little dollop here. So they can be even. And I use patting motions. That's one thing you want to be cognizant. Don't drag because you can lift your under layers of other products off. But you also don't want to tug your skin right here. This is the most delicate skin you have on your body. So you definitely want to take care of it and be gentle and just press and tap. All right. So that is it for all my liquid products. So we are going to move into setting powders. I have 3 that I'm going to talk about. So Makeup by Mario, this Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. This is my favorite. I have had several that I've gone through, and this is the color Light Peach, number 3, yeah, Neutral Peach. And this is the one that I just keep coming back to. It gives me a very skin-like finish, which is something that I personally prefer in my powders. I never like looking matte. I like looking neutral. So I like for it to look like it's my skin. Look at me looking for the top and I'm mixing in it. And so this is what the color looks like. I'm trying to see. There we go. So it's not yellow. You can see that it's a peach color. And one thing I've noticed over the years is that, and I'm just taking a N14 brush and I'm putting it in my hand and wiping off the excess. And so the same thing applies as to what I was talking about earlier in doing light layers. I do pretty much everything in a light layer. When I set, it's in a light layer. And so I feel like, as you can see, you could tell that that concealer was lighter, And because this is a neutral color, it goes in and I feel like it evens me out. If I have on a light concealer, I can go in with this powder and it brings me back to looking, I feel like, myself. It's still highlighted in the area, but because of the powder color, it's not a stark difference between my skin complexion and whatever concealer color I use to highlight. You can still see that it's there enough to be able to give me some dimension in that space, but it's definitely not as prominent that the colors were so different from my foundation and concealer. And so I'm just going in, and everywhere that I put concealer, I'm just taking thin layers of the powder and pressing it into my skin. And what that does for me is it doesn't mattify me, but it gives me enough dryness to still look like I have a natural skin glow, but I don't look matte and dry. And I think, to me, in my opinion, that's the beauty of what makeup should be. And there are days when you absolutely want to look dramatic, look different than what you do on a regular basis. But when you're doing everyday makeup, most of the time you're just putting on makeup to enhance yourself, not to be out here making a makeup statement. And if you do, that's great. But I feel like the majority of people just want to enhance their natural beauty. And so to do that, you have to have the right powder colors. And it takes trial and error. Like I said, I know for me, the color peach is a color correcting color for me. So anything peach is going to look good on me, whether it's a light peach, a dark peach, a bright peach. Peach is where it is for me. And I get the most natural finishes and the most natural look with peach. Now, what I will say is, if you are oily, I think this powder is very lightweight. So it's unlikely that it will hold your oils at bay. You'll probably need a heavier powder like the Huda Beauty powder. Like if you have oily skin, this is amazing. I have it, I use it, and that's what I used for years. That's what I used on clients for years. But at the time, Makeup by Mario did not exist. The brand did not exist when I was doing clients full time. So I used the Huda Beauty powder and I would thin it out. I would put it in my hand and put in thin layers to build it up. But if you have oily skin, that would still be my recommendation. Like I said, I lean dry to normal, and then I have an oily T-zone. So I use the Huda Beauty on days when I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be in the heat. I'm going to be sweating because I know it has me. The Mario powder is more of, I'm just going out to eat. I'm going to run errands. I'm not going to be sweating a lot. It's very finely milled type situation. So that's the difference in between those two. So I recommend this powder too. This is one that I also love. It's just not what I would use on a regular basis. So I'm going to put this away. And then we're going to pull out Huda Beauty, but we're going to pull out the pressed powder. So this is the loose powder version, and this is the pressed powder version. So this is Peach Pie. This is like full set, like I was saying, if you want to set your whole face type situation. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use a big brush. So I'm going to use my N15 brush, and I just dipped it in the powder and I tap off the excess inside here, inside the cap. Again, back in my hand, and I'm just going to press. And I take more, put it in my hand and press. Now you can buff and all of that, but I just like to press into my skin with this. All right, now Huda Beauty, the pressed version of the powder. This is a new addition to my listing because it just came out either the early part of this year or late last year. But when I tell you the blurring effect that it has under the eyes is amazing, it's amazing. So I'm gonna take one of my little baby Morphe puffs, very small, and I use the color Peach Cupcake. Yep, Peach Cupcake. And I'm literally just going to swirl the puff inside of it. Again, tap off the excess, and I'm literally gonna go up under my eye and press. Now, I don't know what is inside of this powder, but you can tell the difference between this eye and this eye. It just, I don't know what it is. I feel like I have a photo focus finish. And I don't use it over my whole face because it's light. You can definitely see it brightens me up some. I would have to get a deeper color, but I honestly am not looking for like a photo finish over my whole face for an everyday look. Up under my eyes, I want to look flawless because to me, that is my sign that I'm actually aging. That sounds like I'm not accepting the fact that I'm aging. I have no choice but to accept it. But what I'm saying is I feel like this powder does something that makes aging look more palatable, and it perfects this area. Now, it could just be me, it could just be wishful thinking, but you can definitely see that it's lightened up this area some. Eyes, you've been doing good. Don't start watering. Don't start. You've been doing good. Okay. So I'm just gonna go right down the side of my nose here and in the center. And I have a little shine right there on my eyebrow edges. So there we go. That's it. That's literally all I use this powder for, but it just does something for me in that particular space. And then last but not least, my finishing powder. So kosas. Y'all have literally seen me have a meltdown on camera when I wasn't able to find this. And I ended up finding it. When I moved, I had put these in a separate bag because I wanted to keep them out. And I found it in my car last weekend, and I moved in December. So that's been 6 months ago, going on 7 months ago, that they've been riding around in my car. There's a part of me that's almost afraid to put them on my face because they've been out in the heat on these hot days that we've had here. So anywho, but I'm just taking that same N15 brush and I'm just gonna go in and I press in first, and I'm gonna go over that Huda Beauty area just because it's lighter and I want to darken it up a little bit. I am not a person that prefers to have a lighter under eye area. I like mine to look more natural. There are people who love having a super highlighted under eye area, but that's just not my personal preference. But can y'all see the difference that this makes? Like, let me go on this side. So this half of my face has the finishing powder on it. This side doesn't. Can y'all tell the difference? I can see the difference. I just feel like everything just looks blurred and put together. Like, there's nothing like this Kosas powder for me. Nothing like it. And again, I just go in and press. And I'm literally just swirling. It doesn't have a lot of kick up or kickback in the pan. I don't even wipe off the excess in my hand. I literally just go in and press. Like I said, I go right up under that area. And then this is where sometimes I start buffing. And this is very, very, very light buffing. Boom, done. So this is how I get my flawless base. And now you can see, you can still see the Juvia's Place shining through. And you can still see some of the contour right there. So this, to me, I could stop right here, put some setting spray on, some mascara, and be done. So that's essentially what we're going to do today. So I am going to, now we're going to talk about setting sprays. Favorite setting sprays of all time. Nothing can outdo these. Love them. So the Until Dawn One Size Setting Spray, when I discovered this and when this came out, when I say I was so happy, there were no words, because I sweat. I can step outside for a minute, and as soon as the sun makes contact with my skin, I start getting sweat beads. Like, anywho, so when this came out, when I say my makeup lasts forever, this is great, great. So I've been using this one for years. Since it came out, it's been in my arsenal. But then, I can't remember if it was earlier this year or later last year, Danessa Myricks came out with this Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm. She had one size running for the hills, but they serve two different purposes for me. One size is going to be my absolute long wearing if I am outside, if I am going to be sweating, if I know I'm doing something that's going to be extremely long term, like if I'm going to be gone for almost 24 hours or a wedding or something like that. This is what I use during the summertime. This is what I use. And so with Huda Beauty and these are like my summer powerhouse, no questions asked. Now, Miss Danessa, this is beautiful. This is my daily setting spray. So when I wear makeup during the week, whenever I go out, going to dinner, short-term things, I would say 8 hours or less or 10 hours or less, going to work, this is the setting spray that I use. It gives me the same lasting power of this, but it's not as mattifying as this. This puts a filter on your skin to make you look blurred, but it also has the lasting power of this. It's just not as heavy duty of a spray. So this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And this is my second purchase of this. I haven't bought a full size yet, but I'm gonna have to break down and buy one. I had bought a travel size and I gave it to my sister, and I went back out and bought this, and there are no words, no words. So I am going to shake it up. It's loud, sorry. And my One Size Beauty sponge, y'all know how I feel about this sponge. And I'm going to spray this, and I'm just going to pounce this on my face. Look, nothing is coming up. Nothing. The setting powders are doing their jobs. And I'm gonna go under my eyes. And I really focus right around here in the areas that I sweat. And then that's it. Look, hardly nothing came up. So I'm so happy right now. All right, and then I'm gonna take a fan here. Okay. All right, so that is my base done. All right, so regular day, I really don't put any eyeshadow on a regular day. What I will do to give myself some dimension is go in with a bronzer. And my new bronzer slash blush duo that I'm loving right now is the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Face Trace Sculpting and Powder Duo. This duo is a pretty penny, but when I say this is so convenient and it does what it needs to do, convenience is what I will pay for. Usefulness is what I will pay for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a 202 brush. I'm literally gonna go over here and plop into the bronzer. I'm just gonna go in. Put that all over my eye. That's it. It's very lightweight, very thin. My eye's trying to water. Go in, give my eye some dimension. That's it. That's it. I don't do anything else. It gives me a difference in color down here, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take this YSL liquid latex mascara. I think that's what it's called. Lash latex, excuse me. This has been my favorite mascara that I've been using as of late. The close second to this is the Essence mascara. Amazing. They pretty much give me the same look on my lashes, which is volume and length. I don't curl my lashes, but I do like having length and volume. Boom, just like that. Just like that. You guys know I have to do my bottom lashes. That's non-negotiable. And the reason I do my bottom lashes is because I feel like it gives me an awake look. All right. And then coat 2. I do a minimum of 2 coats of mascara. So eyes are done. And then last but not least, our lips. So in this household, Fenty Beauty reigns queen for lip products for me. No ifs, ands, or buts or questions about it. It doesn't matter if it's a lip gloss, if it's a lipstick, if it's a lip mousse. Fenty is it. Now, I personally don't wear lipstick like that. Most of my lipsticks or lip products that I have are liquid lips. So I'm either lip gloss or liquid lipstick. So my go-to color is the Fenty Gloss Bomb and Honey Waffles. If you see me at work or see me out and about, this is usually, if I have a whole face on like this is most likely the color that you will see me in. And I don't line my lips or anything like that. I literally just go in, put this on top. This is it. This is my face. So when you see me at work, this is the look that you're looking at. When you see me out and about and I look polished, I don't have eyeshadow on my eyes or anything, this is what you're seeing. Nothing more, nothing less. But when I say Fenty is in business in this household, this is not all of them. This is only what I had on my makeup desk, because I have more inside my work bag. I have one in every single purse that I own. I have one in my car. I have all the finishes I have, except the lip plumping one. I don't need any lip plumping assistance. I like my lips where they are. But gloss bombs, minis, special edition, when the new ones come out. Who is this? What is this? Gimme Space. Like, it is what it is. So not only that, my favorite lip product of all time is from Fenty Beauty. If these ever get discontinued, when I say I will be in total devastation. And these two. These are scattered all throughout my work bags because these are beautiful when I need a quick lip at work. Like this is good just to sit at my desk, but when I need to appear in front of somebody, I keep one of these in my desk because they pack. I will sit here and go on and on all day and try to sell you why you need Fenty Beauty products, but it's really whatever your preference is. So yeah. But they reign supreme in this house. If I do wear lip liner, it is 95% of the time going to be Juvia's Place So Rare. I have said multiple times, I don't personally like wearing lip liner like that. I just prefer to put on a solid color and go on about my business, but I don't have issues with like my lip liner, or excuse me, my lipsticks bleeding and all of those types of things. If you wear a lip liner, that can help prevent if you have lipstick or lip products that bleed outside of your lip line like this. Any lip liner will help you with that issue, but I don't have any issues with those types of situations. The only time I wear lip liner is when I wear colors that are lighter than this. This is like a good nude per se for me, but there are some colors that are a little bit more nude than this. And a new favorite for me is the Pat McGrath, what is this, Lip Sculpt Duos? Yep, the Lip Sculpt and Shade Contour Duos. So the convenience of this is just astounding to me. And so one side is going to be your lip color, and then the other side is going to be your lip liner. So for me, I get the lighter colors from this. I have two. I have, this one is Peach Somebody. This is Nude Dimension, and I have the one that's Peach Something. And these run a little bit lighter than me, so I would wear a lip liner with these just so it's not such a stark difference on my lips from my complexion. Convenient, love it. It's 2-in-1. I don't have to take a whole bunch of products. It can drop in my bag and go on with what it needs to go with. Now that it is not moisturizing, so I will say you would need like a base or a lip gloss or something to give your lips some hydration. But outside of that, I pretty much put lip gloss on top of anything, so that doesn't bother me. But this is also a new favorite that is in great circulation in my space. Blush. We already talked about the Westman Atelier Duo. I wear the blush inside of that, but you guys are probably so sick of seeing this little compact from Rare Beauty. This is their matte bouncy blush in the color Worth. I have had this for over a year. Y'all, I can't put a dent. Wait a minute. Do I have a dent? I can't put a dent in this. And y'all have seen me bounce in and out of this thing I don't know how many times. It's not going anywhere. I don't know if I will ever have to repurchase this because the product is not going anywhere. It's not. It'll probably expire before I get through everything in here, and that will force me to get it. But I don't know what the shelf life of it is. I'm pretty sure I'm beyond it, but it doesn't smell, so I'm keeping it. So it's almost like an experiment. I want to see how many times I would have to dig into this to get to pan. I think this will take me like 10 years to get through. But anywho, so that is all of my favorite makeup products. So the next section is going to be fragrance. This was actually a request. One of my friends asked me to do some fragrance reviews, and I was like, I mean, I don't feel like I'm the best person to do it, but since she asked, I will tell you my favorite fragrances that I'm wearing right now. So I am going to start with the one that I wear almost every single day. It is going to be Skylar Lime Sands. As you can see, the bottle is halfway gone. It's halfway gone, and I am a generous sprayer. I probably spray at least 5 to 10 sprays of this. Yes, that's excessive, but this is a very light fragrance. So this is what I would consider a skin scent, meaning that it's not going to give you a lot of, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but it's not a very strong smell. It's a very close to yourself smell that you can smell on you, but it's unlikely that somebody who's not close to you will smell it. It's very light and it's fresh. So this is something I wear like right out the shower. This is something that I wear when I go to work every day. It's an everyday scent, very light, very soft. It just very clean, very fresh smelling. So I did some research prior to starting, so I could have my little tablet. Well, it's not a little tablet, but I could have my tablet ready to talk about the notes for these. So this is, top notes are lime, sea salt, and verbena. Middle notes are lily of the valley, coconut water, and orange flower. And base notes are driftwood, vanilla, and musk. So like I said, very light, very fresh, very, I would say it's kind of like a summer scent, like if you were on the beach type situation. That's what it gives me, it's reminiscent of, but I wear it almost every single day. So well loved, and that is why that is purchased in full size, because you can see from behind me I have little spots missing because these fragrances are sitting over here for me to talk about, but I really don't buy hardly anything in a full size, so that should let you know something. All right, number 2, daily fragrance. So it is the Kylie Freedom Musk Matcha. I was so upset when I got this because I got the 4 sample pack. So it's 3 others that came in the sample pack, but this is the one that I love the most out of it. And at the time, they did not sell a full size. When I was prepping for today's video, I see they now offer this in a full size. I will be purchasing this in a full size. So this is a very, to me, this is another skin scent. This is very light, and this is a scent that I wear when I go out doing errands. So Skylar is more so what I wear when I go to work skin scent. This is like on the weekends when I'm running errands, going out and about, especially in the summertime. To me, this is more, it's a skin scent again, but this gives me more of a outside smell, if that makes sense. I know how I'm trying to explain it, but you know, outside, when you go outside, there's a smell of being outside, kind of grassy type scent. It's not quite along those lines of smelling like you're outside, but it's more of a nature slash earthy, that's the word I'm looking for, earthy scent. The notes of this are matcha, bergamot, so I'll read the description of it. It says, a comforting and earthy scent with a sweet edge, evoking quiet power, stillness, and self-connection. So it begins with a fresh burst of matcha, bergamot, transitioning into the heart of oat milk, warm vanilla, and caramelized praline. It also has sandalwood and sweet musk in it. So again, all of these to me are light fragrances: matcha, oat milk, praline, sandalwood, sweet musk. They're not heavy scents, they're very light, but it is a very earthy smell. So like I said, when I go out and about, outside, running errands, going to the grocery store, that is my fragrance of choice. All right, so then moving to the next scent, or the next fragrance, it's going to be the Chocolate Oudgasm from Kayali. So this, again, I got the little sample pack that had 4 of these in it. This was the one, this one and the cafe one, those 2 were in this, but this is the one that I gravitate towards too. And this is the one that I wear when I go out in the evening. So if I'm going to dinner or some type of event that's in the evening hours, this is what I would wear. And the notes for this are: this is described as a decadent fragrance that wraps the skin in magnetic warmth that feels edible and sexy. So when I go through the descriptions of all the fragrances that I have laid out to discuss today, you all will definitely be able to see my smell profile of things that I like, because they are all pretty much different versions of the same thing. So this is identified as a woody gourmand. It has chocolate oud, dark cocoa, caramel apple, spiced rum, orris, incense, cinnamon, jasmine, cashmere woods, and sandalwood. So this has a deep richness to it. And oud is something for me that I have to personally be careful about, because I wouldn't say that I'm sensitive to smells by any means, but there are certain smells that I can tolerate very lightly, and oud is one of those smells that if it's overpowering, like, it will knock everything out of the ballpark for me. If it's something mixed in it, I won't be able to smell it, because all I'll be able to smell is oud. I think this is mixed very well, where there is a hint of oud, but it's not so powerful that everything else within this blend can't be. You can smell it. Next fragrance, The Wonderful World of Chris Collins Forbidden Apple. Let me go on this side. No, okay. So this is a recent addition to my collection, and this was a blind buy for me. So during the Sephora Savings event, this brand popped up on their website for the first time, and I was just like, oh, well, let me see what this is about. And the fragrance palette was very different than what I was used to for his overall collection of fragrances. And so I was like, okay, well, let me see what it's about. So I ended up buying the little, I have hidden it from myself now, but I bought the sample pack where I think it was 10 fragrances, and this and a few other ones stood out. And the top notes for this are red apple, pink pepper, brown sugar, strawberry blossom. The heart notes are cinnamon, fenugreek, pomegranate pulp, white rum. And the base notes are fir balsam, vanilla bourbon, absolute, and Haitian vetiver. So I know red apple is a fragrance that I like. Brown sugar, strawberry balsam. I know rum is a fragrance that I like, and I know bourbon is a fragrance that I like. I am honestly not a vanilla fan. Vanilla is too sweet to me, so please don't hate me. I know a lot of people love vanilla, but I was kind of shocked by this, because to me this is a well-rounded fragrance. And what I mean, this is a unisex fragrance to me, because it's not overtly sweet, but it's not overtly musk leaning. It's very gender neutral. And so I actually wore this home for Mother's Day, and my uncle was at the house, and he was like, "Ooh, what's that fragrance? It smells really good," which kind of threw me for a loop because I didn't think it was like a masculine leaning fragrance, but he was like, he said it's a nice, soft, clean, just nice fragrance, just general warm. It's a warm fragrance. That was his wording to describe it. And so when I was looking through Chris Collins' profile, a lot of his fragrances are marketed to be gender neutral. So that is something that they are striving for. And I can definitely see it in a lot and going back and looking at the notes. So yeah, so if you're looking for something that's not overtly sweet and it's not overtly masculine, it's kind of in the middle and multiple people can wear it, you know, I like it. I like it a lot. It's a light scent. That's the one thing I will say. To me, it doesn't give projection. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Is projection. That's just me personally. In general, perfumes don't last on me. I have tried putting an oil-based lotion on first and then putting it on me. They just don't last. So, yeah. But that is not the case with other people. Like my uncle wore this and I could smell it on him all day. So it works. It does project it. Me, I'm just an anomaly when it comes to fragrances. Okay, so moving on to the next one is the Yves Saint Laurent's Libre. If you already know, they have various versions of the Libre perfume, and yes, it's technically pronounced Libre. If you want to, you can go into Google Translate and put in Libre. That is how we say it in the US, but that is not how it's pronounced the French way, so we shall pronounce it the correct way. Anywho, so Libre is very lavender based. That is one of their key notes within the fragrance. I personally despise lavender. The smell of lavender makes me nauseous and it makes my nose burn. If I go into a place that's burning lavender, my nose immediately starts burning. It's like my body physically rejects lavender for whatever reason. So, I had never liked anything within the Libre line because it was so lavender forward. My nose would literally start burning every time I would try to put it on. So, or even when I would try to smell it. So they came out with the Libre Nuit. I probably should put a Google Translate here for that. But it was, I think, their newest edition last summer. And when I say I fell in love with this fragrance, I have never considered myself to be a floral person. But this fragrance right here, it reminds me of the Tom Ford Soleil fragrance a little bit. Excuse me, but the notes in this are the new notes. So it's a different profile. It's still part of the Libre line, but this is forward in green mandarin, bergamot, and then it has the base notes, which are in every single one of the Libre perfumes, which is vibrant lavender and orange blossom. For me, it's just that the green mandarin, the bergamot, and the orange blossom are forward in the fragrance, so I don't smell the lavender at all. My nose doesn't burn. And this is this is a fragrance that I wear like when I go to church or like an actual event outside. So if somebody is having like a dinner outside, this is the fragrance that I wear for that. I love it. It's very clean, very soft, very, very beautiful scent, but floral leaning, I will say. The next part of the Libre line is the Berry Crush. I actually don't have that one because I wore it home I went home for something and my mom smelled it and she wanted it, so I gave it to her. And so I haven't repurchased it yet, but I was quite upset because I wanted to keep it. I had literally bought it the day before I went home and I didn't even have it a full 24 hours before it was gone. But again, it's part of the Libre line, but the fragrance parts or the notes that are forward are juicy raspberry, and I think this is the one that has coconut, yes, and coconut milk. So, excuse me, creamy coconut. Let me see. So creamy coconut and juicy raspberry are the front forerunners of this version of Liebe, and it still has the iconic orange blossom and lavender. But again, lavender is on the back burner, and so these other notes are very forward within the fragrance, and I love it. So this one is considered a fruity floral. And then last but not least, from Yves Saint Laurent, it is, I think this fell, yes it did. So it is the Black Opium Over Red. So I haven't worn this one a lot, but this is one that I pull out when I really like my outfit. It's an evening event and I'm just feeling myself that day. And I'll tell you a story. One of my closest friends, she lives by Black Opium, the original one, and she smells amazing. When she wears it, it works with her body chemistry and everything. And I remember trying to wear Black Opium and it didn't smell bad on me, but it did not smell the same on me that it smelled on her. And I was like, I want a fragrance that smells good on me. And so when they came out with this version, Over Red, for Black Opium, this is my version of it. So it has the base notes of the regular Black Opium, which is coffee, and I can't remember the other ones. But to this version, Over Red, they've added jasmine, vanilla, and cherry. Cherry is the main forward note that you smell in it. So I love this perfume. I love that perfume. So, but it's like a special occasion perfume for me. It's not something that I wear frequently, but I do love that perfume. All right, we're going into the last ones. So we're going back into, well, while we're here, we'll go ahead and do Dolce & Gabbana. So My Devotion, this is the newest addition to my fragrance line. And number one, I just love this packaging. I'm not a person who cares about packaging that much, but I did have to get this packaging. I just thought it was beautiful. But this is Dolce & Gabbana My Devotion. So it runs very similar to the Liebe line from Yves Saint Laurent, where they have different versions of a staple product. So this is part of their Devotion line for Dolce & Gabbana. This is their newest edition called My Devotion. And the notes for this are pear blossom and black currant. So that is the top notes. The heart is peony blooms, and the base note is Madagascar vanilla. So the note profile is not very large for this particular fragrance, but this is a beautiful fragrance. Like, I find myself being drawn to it, and it's not something that I wear on a daily basis, but it's one of those fragrances where a mood will hit you and it's like, I want to wear that one specifically. That's how it works. So I don't wear it every day, but I think this is a beautiful fragrance, and it's coming up in my fragrance rotation. So yeah. And then my last three. These are, I'm not gonna say new additions. I've had the majority of these I've had two of these for over 6 months, and then the last one I've had it for about 2 months. And these were blind buys. Every single one of these were blind buys. And this comes from Brown Girl Jane. And I got the travel size versions because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm not gonna return it if I don't like it. It's just gonna be here, and I'll see if I can gift it to somebody. But these, I slip these into my work bag. When I am at work and we decide we might want to go out to eat after work is over, I keep these in my bag and I will just spray this on to go to dinner. Nothing super fancy or anything like that, but I just like the way they smell. And sometimes, instead of wearing my Skylar, which I pretty much wear almost every single day, this is what will replace it. This is what I will wear to work if I'm not wearing my Skylar one. So that should let you know. So the latest one that I bought, well, I'll go in order. The first two that I got were Chalet. And the notes of this, so it's described as a sheer chocolate and sparkling champagne. The top note is white chocolate truffle, chalet plum, champagne accord. Heart notes are dark cacao, winter white jasmine, and snowflower. And base notes are cashmere vanilla, santal woods, and crystallized patchouli. So this is just a nice fragrance all around. And shockingly enough, I actually get compliments on these. The other fragrances, people will smell them as I'm putting them on and like it, but they can't per se smell it on me. These are the ones that people actually smell on me and I get compliments about. So, and then the next one that I purchased was High Tea. So I actually bought this off of a memory of my grandmother. So when I was in elementary school, I can't remember if it was kindergarten or first grade, we would have show and tell, and one of the show and tells were to bring something that you do with your family member. And I used to frequently bake with my grandmother when I was younger. It was more so you go in here and do this and do that and I'll supervise you while you do it type situation. But still, as an adult, I do treasure those memories. And for that particular show and tell, my grandma made tea cakes for me to go take to my classmates. That's back when we could actually cook stuff and take it into school because people had common sense and valued life. But anyway, this smells like fluffy mandolin and spiced chai. And so the name of it, High Tea, made me remember that specific moment when my grandma made tea cakes for me to take to my class. And they're tea cake cookies, but I took them to my class. And so when I saw the name, I knew immediately I was going to buy it. It didn't matter what the notes were. In my mind, I had already made a decision to purchase it because in my mind I have an idea of like tea cakes and what they smell like. So my assumption was that this was going to smell similar to that. My assumption was correct. But again, all three of these were completely total blind buys just based on the description. I was like, I think I'll like this. So this is described as a fluffy mandolin and spiced chai. Top notes are French mandolin, pink chai, and macaron. Heart notes are orange flower water, fresh freesia, and whipped milk. And base notes are warm sandalwood, amber, and biscotti. So I was just like, there's no way that this won't smell good. And this was actually, I got a lot of compliments on this particular fragrance. For New Year's this year, my girlfriends came up for New Year's, and I was saying, oh, y'all, look at these fragrances I purchased. Both of them wrote these down immediately to purchase themselves. So that should let you know something. They have very different personalities. And in my mind, it's very few things that they will like very similar outside of like the same foods and things of that nature. But when it comes to makeup and fragrance, you know, that's very personal and individual to everybody. So the fact that both of them immediately smelled them and started writing them down to purchase them, I was like, okay, brown girl Jane. Anywho, and then last but not least, so this is my newest purchase, and I actually talked about this in one of the videos that will either be posting prior to this. I think that video will get posted prior to this, but if it doesn't, it is Casino by Brown Girl Jane. When I say I think this is my favorite one over the two, but that's a stretch because they all have different profiles. But I really like this. Like I said, these go into my work bags. I just grab one. I don't even look at which one I grab. I just grab one, throw it in my bag, and I will spray it if I go out and do something after work. So, anywho, This one smells like espresso martinis and winning streaks. That's the description. Top notes are espresso affogato, rose quartz, misted pearl. Heart notes are lucky red rose, ruby orchid, hand-picked jasmine. Base notes, golden rum cake, almond foam, and blonde woods. So again, this was a blind buy. It was something that I bought based on the notes that were in there, because I hands down know that I love fragrances that have coffee as a base in it. And so as long as the coffee espresso note is strong, whatever else that is mixed with is highly, highly unlikely that I will dislike it, because the espresso note or the coffee note is strong, and that's what I'm drawn to the most. But this right here smells amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, but the one thing I will say is I have questions. Their descriptions, like quartz, how do you put that in a fragrance? Do you just shave it down and put it in there? Like, I have questions. I would really love to be in the room when somebody creates a fragrance with like pink pepper and things of that nature, because I want to know how that's infused. Do you boil it down and put the smell and infuse that in there, or the actual ingredient itself? So I have questions. I'm sure I could find it on YouTube or whatnot, but I'd like to experience it, the process, in person. So, but anywho, that is all that I have for today, and these are my current favorites. Realistically, most of these things don't change. I will probably change fragrances more than I will anything in my makeup line, because like I said, many of those items I have been using for years, at least 5 years or more. So yes, that is all for today. Thank you for joining me. And if you like what you see and what you've heard, please subscribe and become part of the Cosmopolitan Allure family. Until the next time, take care. Bye.